Queen fired up to have double take against Boris Johnson over No10 Christmas party scandal. According to reports, staff at the palace have said there was palpable anger among the dedicated servants as they were forced to spend substantial amounts of time away from their loved ones over the pandemic after entering protective bubbles at Windsor Castle and Balmoral to protect the monarch. Royal staff said sacrifices made from the very top all the way down to keep people safe were being rendered worthless. A source told the Mirror, "It would be a gross understatement to say people are angry. Many missed Christmas, birthdays, other special occasions and weeks on end away from their families. But it was all in the spirit, it was for the greater good and we were doing our bit. It's a slap in the face for anyone, frankly." The Queen was evacuated from Buckingham Palace at the start of the pandemic and formed a support bubble with her beloved late husband Prince Philip, who moved from his home at Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate in Norfolk. A servant at the palace with more than 10 years of service said some colleagues had become visibly upset when discussing how the Queen was forced to sit alone at her beloved late husband's funeral in April due to coronavirus restrictions. The Queen was last year forced to spend a final Christmas alone with Prince Philip at Windsor Castle, before he passed away aged 99 in April. Like every other law-abiding citizen, the 95-year-old monarch followed the COVID restrictions. On Wednesday, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer highlighted the head of state's leadership and the sacrifices she made at the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral during the COVID-19 crisis at Prime Minister's questions. Sir Keir told the Commons, "Her Majesty the Queen sat alone when she marked the passing of the man she'd been married to for 73 years. Leadership, sacrifice, that's what gives leaders the moral authority to lead." When journalist Jane Merrick tweeted what Queen might be thinking about the party scandal, dozens of Royals fans expressed anger at the British Prime Minister and wanted Queen to act against the Premier. "I wonder what the Queen, who sat alone on a church pew at her husband's funeral to show the country she was strictly observing COVID rules, is thinking this morning," Merrick said. Replying to the journalist, a user Emma said, "I know she isn't meant to get involved, but it's times like these I wish she would." Meanwhile, members of Johnson's ruling Conservative Party openly voiced opposition to his new guidance to work from home and the prospect of compulsory vaccine passports. But criticism of the measures, seen as contradictory as he stopped short of limiting social contact over Christmas, was eclipsed by mounting anger at a scandal from last year. On Wednesday, one of his senior media advisors resigned after video footage emerged showing aides joking about a party held at his office on December 18 last year. At the time, there were limits on numbers allowed at social gatherings, including a ban on mixing between households, that forced millions to cancel their Christmas plans. Johnson has announced an internal probe into the claims after a week of repeated denials that the party took place, and insisted he was told it did not breach the guidelines. But a steady stream of claims have emerged of other social gatherings in the run-up to Christmas last year, including of a boozy gathering at Conservative Party headquarters. Several Snap polls indicated a majority of people now think Johnson should resign, as typically friendly newspapers turn their ire on the British leader. "Do as I say, not as I Christmas do," read the front page of the Sun tabloid, calling the last 2 days of negative headlines a horror show of historic proportions. "Don't go to work, but do go to parties," the Daily Telegraph, which Johnson previously worked for as a columnist, said, mocking the new public health advice. One columnist at the right-wing Daily even asked if the saga signalled the beginning of the end for Boris, 2 years after he won a landslide general election. The Politico website quoted unnamed prominent conservatives that Wednesday was Johnson's worst day politically since becoming Prime Minister. Worst day